Tesla Powerwall 2 Plus, Enphase IQ Battery 10. Which is the best battery backup system for your home solar power system? We're going to be answering that question and much, much more in today's video. Hi everyone, Joe Ordia here for Solar Surge, and for the past 10 years I've been helping families achieve energy independence using clean, renewable energy. Now, if you're new to the Solar Surge channel, on Solar Surge you're going to find expert reviews of solar panels, batteries, inverters, pretty much everything that makes up the home renewable energy ecosystem. Now, in today's video, I'm excited to be bringing you an updated head-to-head comparison of two of the most popular home battery systems on the market. The Tesla Powerwall 2 or Powerwall 2 Plus updated, as well as Enphase's new Generation 2 IQ Battery 10T. Now folks, here at Solar Surge, we've had a chance to work with a number of projects using these two battery systems, as well as other leading battery systems, which you may have seen some of the reviews and comparisons earlier on the channel. But today I'm doing this video in response to a viewer request to do an update of what was one of our most popular videos of 2021, entitled Tesla Powerwall versus Enphase battery. And I promised at the end of that video that I was going to do an updated comparison, because if Enphase was able to actually keep their promises, at the time Enphase was just coming to market with their Encharge 10, but that if Enphase was able to keep their promises, then I wanted to do a comparison again, because on the original comparison I did give Tesla the slight advantage. Just a word from our sponsor, Span.io, and the Span Smart Electrical Panel. If you're considering an investment in a solar plus battery backup system for your home, then you're going to want to have maximum visibility and control of how much solar energy you're collecting, how much energy you're storing, and where that energy is being spent within your home. The Span Smart Electrical Panel allows you to dynamically control which circuits have access to backup power and which ones do not, without the need of a separate critical loads panel, and get up to 40% more running time on your battery backup. So feel free to go directly to the Span.io website, or you can just visit the link on the description below. It'll take you to the page, you can get more information, or if you'd like to, get in touch with an installer right away. Now, we're going to be doing the evaluation here in 5 categories, and each category has a maximum of 5 points for a maximum total score of 25 points. Now those categories are power, including both peak surge power as well as continuous running power, battery capacity, the warranty of the battery, of course the cost of the battery and the cost to have it installed, and then finally what I like to call the X factor. And what the X factor is ways that I can award additional points to each product where there might not be a direct one-to-one comparison between the two, but where some of those unique features and capabilities could have a major impact for you as a potential system owner. Now, before we get into the head-to-head, I'd like to take a moment to talk about what these two battery systems have in common. And the most obvious thing is these are both AC coupled battery systems. Now folks, when we talk about AC coupled versus DC coupled, what we're talking about is where does the interface between the solar system and the battery system happen? Is there a direct DC, direct current solar to battery charging before any of that electricity hits your inverter? Or is it an AC coupled system where the integration between solar and battery happens at an AC circuit breaker panel or at an AC gateway, which is typically going to be at ground level or at your main circuit breaker panel? Now both of these solutions are AC coupled batteries, meaning that it makes it for much easier wiring to retrofit an existing solar system, because all the wiring can be done at ground level. We don't have to change anything on the roof. On the other advantage is it keeps everything clean. So if you have an existing grid tie solar system, maybe you have micro inverters on the roof, or you might have a Solar Edge central inverter system, none of that really would have to be touched with an AC coupled design. We can simply take the AC solar output, that normally would go straight to the grid for selling back, and instead we can send it to a gateway or a system controller, to use Enphase's language, which will then integrate solar, battery, and other power sources for your home. And then secondly, both of these batteries are stackable. And that's what you're going to find with most AC coupled batteries, is that they are stackable. And so whenever you add an additional battery to the system, not only are you increasing the battery capacity, how much energy the battery can store, but you're also increasing the power rating of the battery. How much can you draw out at any one instant? Both continuous power and peak power, you're increasing proportionally with the number of battery units. And with those comments, let's now get into the comparison. All right, coming up first is the Tesla Powerwall 2. Now, in terms of power rating, the Tesla Powerwall 2 has a continuous power rating of 7.6 kilowatts with surge power up to 9 kilowatts. Now, that's a lot for a single battery. It's actually some of the highest numbers that we have for any of the single battery systems that we compare, with the exception of perhaps the Franklin whole home battery. But in terms of a single battery backup, if you had to do a critical loads backup only, with just a single Tesla Powerwall battery, you can comfortably handle just about every 120 volt load in your house. That means all the lights, all the wall outlets, refrigerator, kitchen appliances, computer, home office, anything that plugs into a standard 120 volt wall outlet. So if you are looking for just a single battery critical needs only system, you're probably going to get plenty of running time on the Tesla Powerwall. Now, in terms of power capacity, each Tesla Powerwall battery contains 13.5 kilowatt hours of energy storage. So again, if you're looking at a single battery configuration with just that single battery, you should be able to run all the critical items 120 volt only in your home on a single battery charge for up to about 24 hours. Again, we're talking about things that plug into a standard wall outlet or your lighting circuits. We're not talking about air conditioning or the clothes dryer or some of those other heavy loads. But for critical loads only, you can figure 12 to 24 hours runtime on a single battery charge. Now, in terms of the warranty, the Tesla Powerwall comes with a 10-year unlimited warranty. And that's pretty much standard for what we're seeing now with the home battery systems, whether it be Tesla or Enphase or Generac. Pretty much that 10-year mark seems to be the standard. SolarEdge I would put in that group as well. And then in terms of cost, I have to say that in the last 2 years, Tesla has actually been increasing the prices on their battery backups. Perhaps because demand is so high, especially with what's going on now in California, where a lot of homeowners are going to be losing net metering. So the payback and the return on investment for having battery storage, it just makes more sense now financially to have a battery. And so it looks like Tesla has been confident over the last 2 years to be raising their prices into that increased demand. While at the same time, Enphase has actually been lowering their prices, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. And then finally, in terms of X factor, I'm going to give the Tesla Powerwall plus 2 additional points. I think that aesthetically, the Tesla Powerwall is still probably the nicest looking home battery. It's got a very, very slim form factor, less than 7 inches of depth out from the wall. So I mean, it's a very nice looking, just out of the way wall mounted appliance. And of course, inside the battery is the internal inverter as well. So if you already have an existing solar system, maybe you have micro inverters on the roof, all you really need is that battery. That's all you're really going to have visible at ground level. So that's the Tesla Powerwall 2 Plus. Now folks, as always, if you're in the process of looking at different battery backup options for your home, if you need to get a price quote, or maybe you've already got a price quote for one of these options and you need to get a comparison quote, as always, feel free to reach out to us on the link below. It'll just take you to our website where you can schedule a short Zoom meeting with one of our experts here, and we can talk through the options and provide some numbers and some information for you. All right, now let's take a look at the Enphase IQ battery. Okay, next up is the Enphase IQ battery, specifically the IQ Battery 10T, which is Enphase's second generation large size battery. Now, in terms of power rating, a single Enphase IQ 10T battery has a continuous power rating of 3.8 kilowatts with surge power up to 5.7 kilowatts. Now, compared to the Tesla, that is a little bit underpowered, and so if you're looking at a single battery system only, Tesla has the advantage here. In terms of storage capacity, you're looking at energy storage of 10.1 kilowatt hours of usable energy per charge on the battery. So again, comparing side by side with Tesla with a single battery system, Tesla does have the advantage by over 30% per battery in terms of storage capacity. Now, in terms of the warranty, Enphase also comes standard with a 10-year battery warranty. However, Enphase does offer the option to extend the battery up to 15 years. And as of this recording, the cost is $1,000 per IQ10 battery to take the warranty from 10 years out to 15 years. And you can do that right on Enphase's website. Now, in terms of cost, the cost of the Enphase batteries has actually come down considerably, about $4,000 per battery in terms of just the direct material cost from when I did the original comparison back in 2021. So if you're looking for a multi-battery system for a whole house backup, I think what you're going to find is that the Enphase whole house backup is on par or below where the Tesla Powerwall is, whereas if you're looking for just a single battery system, you'll probably find that the costs are roughly comparable. And then finally, as far as X factor, I'm going to award the Enphase battery plus 4 additional points for some of the unique features which I'm going to explain now. The first is the lithium iron phosphate chemistry. So for those of you who have been following this, you know that there are two primary chemistries for lithium ion batteries. You have the lithium NMC, nickel manganese cobalt, which is what Tesla uses and what Generac uses, and what most electric vehicles use. Now the NMC chemistry has the advantage of it's more energy dense, you get more energy storage per unit of volume and per unit of mass. So for electric vehicles where you actually have to drive all that weight around, it makes sense to have a more energy dense battery. The other advantage of the NMC chemistry is higher surge power, which also comes into play when you're talking about rapid acceleration for electric vehicles or high surge power when you're running in backup mode for your battery backup. And that's one of the reasons Tesla Powerwall has a higher surge power. On the other hand, the lithium iron phosphate chemistry is considered much more safe and much more durable. Now, you may have heard some of these horror stories about batteries catching on fire, lithium ion batteries catching on fire because they overheated. Well, that was with the old chemistry. The new chemistry with the iron phosphate batteries runs cool, it's 100% safe for indoor use. However, the trade-off is that these batteries are heavier and bulkier. So it takes more unit of volume, that's why the batteries are physically larger, and it also takes more mass, the batteries are heavier, to get the same amount of energy storage. The other thing with the iron phosphate chemistry though, is that it's more readily available. The raw materials, the elements that go into building a lithium iron phosphate battery, there's just not as many of these rare earth elements that have to be imported from countries like Afghanistan and Zimbabwe and China. Most of what you need to build a lithium iron phosphate battery can be mined and developed right here in the United States. And so that's another reason why it's preferable and why the cost is showing up now as lower. Now, the other thing you can do with Enphase is you have the option to integrate a fuel burning generator into the mix. So as many of you know who have been following the channel for a while, if you're preparing to survive a prolonged off-grid scenario, then I always recommend having a fuel burning generator to back up your solar and batteries. That way, if the grid is down and let's say the weather's been bad all week, your batteries are draining down, you have an option to fire up the generator, let the generator run for a few hours, and while it's powering the house, you can also bring the charge on your batteries back full, and then you can go for running another day or two off the batteries. So it helps you really stretch your fuel supply if you're in a grid down situation. And then finally, the last unique feature on the Enphase is the load control. Now, one of the components for a successful whole home battery backup is being able to intelligently control the loads within your home. Or simply put, turning on or off certain appliances based on what the solar in the battery is doing. If it's the middle of the daytime and your solar panels are producing full power and your batteries are full, then go ahead, have at it. Run whatever you want. Run the air conditioner, run the laundry, do whatever you want, because there's more enough power coming in than what you need. But let's say you're in a grid down situation and it's nighttime, so you're running completely off the battery. There's no solar coming in to help. And let's say the batteries start to draw down below 50% or maybe 30%. Well, at that point, you may want to cut off certain non-essential loads to make sure that the battery doesn't drain out overnight before the solar can come up and take over the next day to recharge. So common loads to be controlled within the home are things like electric vehicle chargers, HVAC, air conditioning compressors, electric water heaters. All of these are things that have a heavy electric draw when they're running, but they may not be essential when you're running on backup power, especially if you're running on backup power during the evening where it may not be that hot to run the air conditioner, or you may not need to charge your, to drain your home battery to charge your electric vehicle battery. So with automatic load control, you can program many of those preferences and priorities into the system, and then the system will handle powering those things on or off as needed to preserve and protect the battery life. So this is the Enphase IQ Battery 10T. Okay, so in summary, for the Tesla Powerwall 2 Plus, we're looking at 7.6 kilowatts continuous power with 9 kilowatt surge, 13.5 kilowatt hours battery storage capacity, a 10-year warranty, a rising cost that's significantly more, at least $2,000 more than it was 2 years ago, and plus 2 X-Factor points for the elegant design. On the Enphase IQ battery, we're looking at 3.8 kilowatts continuous power with 5.7 kilowatt surge power, 10.1 kilowatt hours of usable energy storage per battery, a warranty of between 10 and 15 years, depending on if you choose the extended warranty option, and a significantly lower cost, at least $2,000 per battery less than what it was 2 years ago when we did the original comparison, and plus 4 X-Factor points for some of the unique features that we talked about earlier, like the lithium iron phosphate chemistry, the load control, and the generator hookup. So if we total it up, for Tesla Powerwall, I'm giving 5 out of 5 on power, 5 out of 5 on capacity. Clear advantage for Tesla here. 4 out of 5 for the warranty, 4 out of 5 for cost, and plus 2 X-Factor points for a total of 20 points. For the Enphase IQ battery, I'm awarding 4 out of 5 for power and 4 out of 5 for capacity, because Enphase is slightly below in these two areas. 5 out of 5 for warranty, as it does have the 15-year extended option. 5 out of 5 for cost, as they have been lowering their cost, and for a whole house backup configuration, I think you'll find Enphase is significantly lower cost, plus 4 X-Factor points for some of those unique features like generator hookup, load control, and the lithium iron phosphate chemistry, for a total score of 22 points. So for the 2023 comparison, I am going to award the Enphase IQ battery as the preferred battery solution. However, guys, as always with these comparisons, this is not a one-size-fits-all answer. And so you really want to take a look at your unique situation and as well what your budget is, because I think what you're going to find is this. If you can only afford a single battery system and you need to get some backup out of a single battery system, you are probably going to get more functionality and the ability to protect more of your home with a single Tesla Powerwall system. On the other hand, if what you're looking for is to take advantage of the latest chemistry, the most advanced technology in a whole home backup configuration, then I think what you're going to find is a multi-battery system using Enphase, and I'm talking about 3 batteries or more, is actually going to give you a much more robust whole home backup capability, especially if you're preparing for a prolonged grid down situation. So folks, this has been the 2023 updated comparison of the Tesla Powerwall and the Enphase battery. As always, if you're in the process of evaluating solar plus battery storage options for your home, if you need to get pricing or more details on either of these options or any of the other leading home battery options, as always, feel free to reach out to us on the link below there. You can set up a short Zoom meeting with one of our design experts here, look at what the options are, talk about the pros and cons of each, and of course, get some specific pricing for installation in your area. Of course, if you're getting good value from the videos that we publish on Solar Surge, be sure to give us a thumbs up. And also consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. That way, as we have new videos that come out like this, it'll come up on your homepage and you can keep up to date with everything that we put out there. Well, folks, that does it for today's video. I thank you for spending some time with Solar Surge. As always, I'm Joe Ordia, encouraging you to get prepared and be empowered. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.